Hello and welcome to the Womanifestor podcast. I'm your host, Katie J. I'm a manifestation coach and a mentor to badass, game-changing women. I'm here to share insights, tools, and resources that help me and my clients manifest with ease. It's my hope that you'll take what you learn in this podcast, apply it to your life, and embody it daily. When you do, you'll start to notice profound shifts in your life. You'll have more energy, more self-love, more abundance, better relationships, and you'll begin to live life as your most authentic self, which means you'll be able to manifest faster and easier than ever before. Let's get started. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Katie J, and today we have Callee from Bestowed Essentials. Callee and I worked together last summer in my Manifest Your Best Life course, which, as I talked about on my story a few weeks ago, was a free course. I didn't believe that I could help people change their lives through the power of manifestation, so I gave it away for free. And Callee was one of the students who really took that content, applied it to her life, and is now creating a ripple effect and teaching it to others. So Callee, I would love to know a little bit more information about where you were a year ago when we first got connected.
Oh my gosh, a year ago, everything was so much different. So I was in my first, 6 months of taking my little side hustle full time and trying to figure out how to make a profit and live off of my small business. And I was kind of not doing so hot, I had all these hopes and dreams, but I didn't have focus whatsoever, and I was all over the place, and I was really worried that things weren't going to work out and that I was going to have to get a quote-unquote real job like some of my family members kept telling me that I should do. Everything was way different back then. It's crazy to look back a year ago and then look where I am now, all thanks to you, Katie.
Well, it wasn't all thanks to me. You really took that. Because there were some people in that course who didn't really apply the information. And I think that was something that I learned as a coach that I need to emphasize is you can watch these videos all day long, but until you actually apply it in your life, you're not going to see any change or transformation. And I think you did exactly that. You took it and you applied it, and where are you now? What has changed in the past year?
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, what you said, you have to apply it 100%. Manifesting doesn't work if you're just sitting on your couch. I wish someday I could do this, or I wish someday I could have that. You have to put in the work. So where I am now versus where I was last summer is it's incredible. In the last 12, 13 months, my business has completely taken off. It's gone from me and one part-time virtual assistant to I now have a team of 4 employees working for me. We have a production studio and a retail store in Rapid City, South Dakota. I have a really successful podcast. I've done multiple speaking engagements and consulting. Yeah, it's incredible. And in the next couple months, we're actually going to be expanding too. So last year, before you and I started working together, I was still trying to run my product-based business out of my van. So I was making products and shipping them from my van while I was traveling on the road. And pretty much as soon as I finished your course and really started applying the skills that I learned, business started, sales started to pick up, and it got to be too much to do in the van. So I rented a storage unit, and I was in a 100 square foot storage unit for 3 months, from August to November of last year. And then November, I went up to Rapid City and got our production and retail space that we're in now, which is 600 square feet. And we've just completely outgrown that since we moved in there last November. And so this coming November 2019, we're going to be moving into a 1,700 square foot space, which is just mind-blowing. It's like this amazing dream space, everything I ever wanted all in one. And, you know, I directly attribute that, you know, getting that dream space and everything that's happened in the last year to manifesting and to persistence, not giving up when things got rough.
Yeah, such a good point. Not giving up when things get rough. I think that's where a lot of people get lost. A lot of people give up, or it's like, okay, I'm experiencing resistance. This must not be what I meant to do. And they kind of just like wave the white flag and tap out at that point. But what are some challenges that you ran into over the past year?
Back last summer, you know, like I said, I had family members and friends telling me that, you know, what I was doing was really risky and that I should get a real job and that my business idea wasn't really going to pan out, that there just wasn't a market for it. There wasn't going to be money for it. But I was like, no, I don't want to go back to a 9-to-5 corporate job. You know, I love what I'm doing. And so from there, I've built up so much. You know, I've built up not just my business, but multiple other projects since then, despite a lot of people telling me that it couldn't be done. For example, back at the beginning of this year, February, March of 2019, we were in the running for a small business grant, $50,000 from FedEx. And I was so dead set. I wanted it so bad. I was manifesting it so hard. And we did get into the finalists. We made the top 100 small businesses in the entire country, which was amazing, but we didn't ultimately end up winning the grant. And so that was a moment where my faith really wavered, my faith in myself. You know, I took that loss really hard because my business is me and I am my business. And so basically FedEx saying that my business wasn't good enough to win their grant felt like a personal blow as well. Like I wasn't good enough. And, you know, I have all these dreams, and that $50,000 would have been so helpful to really get a lot of the amazing projects off the ground that we've been wanting to implement. And so that was rough. That was really hard. And since then, I realized that still like $50,000 is fantastic. Would have been great to have that, but it's actually better in the long run that we didn't get it, because had we gotten that grant at that time, we didn't have systems in place in our business, like organizational systems, standard operating procedures. We didn't have the basics ready yet to be able to hit the ground running with all these extra things that we wanted to do. We needed more time to figure our shit out, basically, and get established and have a solid foundation that we could then start to build on and grow on. And I think looking back now, that had we won that and had we just like taken off exponentially at that moment, it would have crashed in the long term because we weren't ready for it. And so now we've had to just stick to our guns, stay persistent, and build things up slowly, brick by brick, but everything is solid. And I think we've been more successful this way with the slow building than if we'd launched from a rocket ship with $50,000. So yeah, persistence and not giving up. And when you lose or miss out on something that seemed so perfect, just realizing that all that means is that, you know, either you weren't ready or just that something even better is right down the road for you.
Oh, such a good point. I love that. Yeah, something even better is coming your way. And that's something that I didn't know last summer. I've grown as a coach over the past year as well. And something that my mentor taught me is when I'm manifesting something or putting my energy and focus into something, I always ask for this or something better for the good of all involved. And
oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so many possibilities and potential outcomes that we don't have no awareness about. And, like, yes, that $50,000, that would do so much good for my business. But really there's like, this background thing working for you, which is, hey, there's some systems that you need to put into place. And then you'll be ready for that abundance, right? Like that level of abundance will come to you, just not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Now seeing the path that we're on, just everything lined up. Because I remember when we were in the final round for the grant judging process, and we were looking at spaces that we could move into. Because already by that point we were outgrowing our current space. We still had another like 6 or 7 months on the lease. And so we were trying to find a space to move into. We were going to have to break our lease and pay this huge fine of several $1,000s to break it, to be able to move somewhere. The right space wasn't coming up. And so we felt like we were just going to have to like compromise and get some place that was less than perfect, just for the sake of having more space. And I'm so thankful that we didn't do that, because now, we've had to wait out the end of our lease. It's been really cramped, and that has definitely limited our growth to some extent, just space limitations. But with this timeline, we were able to find the perfect space that will grow with us over the next few years. And, that space just wasn't available back earlier this spring. If we would have won the grant, we would have missed out on this. So it's just funny to see the way that things play out, and everything happens the way it's meant to happen.
Absolutely. So what would you say is your manifestation process? Because, I taught kind of like a overview of this is how it works, and here are some steps, and here are some things that work for me, and here in basically encouraging you guys to follow your curiosity. And because everyone has something different that works. Like some people meditate, and some people journal, and some people, tell their friends about it. But what is it that works best for you when you are manifesting upgrades and abundance in your life?
Your guided meditations help so much. Like I always go back to one of the guided meditations where it was to sit down and imagine your best life 1 year from now. And it's hilarious because I manifested everything that I envisioned, except for one thing. I saw myself last July. I saw myself this July, like working on the beach, like having set my business up to a level where I could work remotely and handle my team remotely and just get to be on the beach in California. Just this amazing dream digital nomad life. I saw myself with a new leg tattoo, and I never ended up getting one. That's the only thing that I didn't get out of that envisioning process, that manifestation. But it just hasn't felt right now to end up getting a tattoo. But anyway, yeah, so my process, I guess, is driving is kind of my alternative to meditation. I've not been good and not been able to pick up that skill. Okay, it's not that I've not been able to, it's that I've not purposely put in the effort to, because I just don't care to.
Good catch.
Yes. It's not that I can't, it's that I haven't bothered. Because I'm just not fond of it, or I tell myself that I'm not fond of it, and thus create that reality. Oh, you see how everything works. I'm not fond of meditating, where I just sit down and do nothing and try to clear my head. I always have so many thoughts. I just find it difficult, and I just don't care enough to really work past those mindset blocks yet. But I do a lot of driving, with living in a camper van and traveling around the country. So that driving time is kind of my slow down. I'm driving, I'm very limited, so I can't be doing other things. I've got my eyes on the road, my hands on the wheel, usually got some music playing, and that's my time to really get deep into my thoughts and just start listening to my intuition and to start thinking things through and, analyzing patterns that I don't see during my day-to-day life when my thoughts are moving very quickly. that's kind of my meditation time. And that's where I do a lot of my planning, thinking things out. The other thing that has been happening more and more recently, that you and I were talking about their Instagram DM just a few days ago, actually, was ideas have been coming to me in my sleep, which is the coolest thing ever. And I'll just, I'll be in a dream and my consciousness will kind of bring me out of that dream state into this like suspended level of consciousness where I'm still asleep. I'm not moving. I'm still, my entire body's very, very calm and relaxed, but my brain is more self-aware, more aware that I'm like half asleep, half awake. And that is where I call it the flow state, because everything just kind of flows and then you're just like hanging between these like two realities, I guess, between the real waking world and your dream world. And that has been where my consciousness or the universe or whatever you want to call it is just handed me these fully fledged ideas and thoughts for me to take and run with, to implement in my day-to-day life. And that's really cool. One example that just happened a few days ago was I've been working on a project and I had gone to bed thinking about needing to develop a website for it. And, one of my things that I tell myself is that I'm not that great at website design. And so I went to sleep thinking about like, oh, I'm going to need to hire somebody. And, this project is entirely separate from other things that I'm doing right now. So I can't mix funding. So where am I going to get the funds to do this and to hire somebody? What do I even want the website to look like? And I fell asleep stressed about it. That it was a bother, that it was a problem that I was going to have to solve. And then I woke up the next morning with the entire website designed in my head, like the layout, the fonts, the sections, everything just designed in my head. I could see the entire thing. I could like mentally click through to the different pages. And I knew where I was going to get the funding and I knew who I was going to hire to do it. And it just all came to me in that flow state. And that, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know why it happens, but I'm very appreciative for it. And it does seem like that's starting to occur more and more. And I hope that continues.
That is so freaking cool, Callee. Is it something that comes across as like, besides this example with the website, in other examples, is it so clear that you're like, yes, this is something that I need to do to move forward? Or is it like, oh, this is just an idea and I might see what I could do about it in reality?
No, for me, it's always been like crystal clear. This is my next step, or this is something that I need to do soon. I do definitely like what you said, where you just kind of like wake up and you're thinking about your day. You haven't gotten out of bed yet, and like you have some ideas and stuff like that happens pretty often, especially if I let it happen. My big one of my bad habits is that I reach for my phone immediately after waking up, and that just shuts down that flow state, that suspension where you're slowly waking up and ideas can come in and you can just relax and bring yourself to alertness in a very focused, alert way. I'm just like, wake up, reach for my phone, the bright light of the screen hurts my eyes, and then it's just like not as welcoming, not as pleasant of a way to get up in the morning. So that would be a huge piece of advice to your listeners, is like, next time you're able to wake up without having to have an alarm set, just let your body wake itself up naturally and just stay there. Don't even move. Don't move a muscle. Don't roll over. Don't reach for your phone. Just stay where you are and just let your body just hang out there in that barely awake state for a little bit, and just kind of ask the universe, like, to give you a sign or to show you what you should do next, to give you clarity or focus, or whatever you need. Ask the universe for it in that state and see what answers can come to you.
Yeah. So I read Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And in that book, he talks a lot about, you might, you're not a huge fan of meditation, but he has these like 40-minute meditations that he talks about in the book. And then of course you want to go buy them. So I did. And he tells you like, do these meditations between 2 and 4 a.m. because that's when your body is most likely to be in that mid-level dream subconscious state, and you can start to really alter your reality. And I did that for a long time when I was in Costa Rica, and it was incredible. I had amazing results and was feeling so aligned. And of course I was living in Costa Rica, so that's helpful as well. But yeah, it's cool how like the early morning hours when your mind is in that really fluffy state, how you can communicate way easier with the universe.
No, I was just going to say, I love that because that time period, like around 2 or 3 in the morning is generally known as witching hour, when there's like that portal open to other worlds. And if you've ever and of course it's hard to as a girl, but if you've ever just like been alone walking outside at night in that like dead stillness, like I feel it at least, like the air around you shifts at that certain point in the night. And like, I feel like if you are in tune with those things, like you feel the energy change and you can almost feel like, yeah, I love it. I love witching hours. So it's really cool that he says to do it during that time, because I could totally see how things would be more open and flowing at that hour.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you teach, or you kind of hold space for for manifestation with your group, with your team as well, right? I want to quickly tell you guys about a program I'm really excited about. Starting November 3rd, I'm going to be hosting the Abundance Academy. In this 7-week live training program, I'm going to be helping 10 women to upgrade their financial situation. We're going to be going over the mindset of how you can attract more abundance, more money, whatever it is that you need in your life right now related to abundance. I will show you how to get in the mindset to attract it to you like a magnet. How do you set up budgets that you can actually stick to? How do you create success systems so that you have money working for you in the background? We'll talk about credit cards, how to use them for your benefit and not the other way around. And then finally, we'll also get into investing. How do you take that money and make it work for you while you sleep? You'll figure out what saving and investing option is best for you. These live trainings are going to be hosted in my private Zoom room, but I'll record them all so you'll have lifetime access to this content. I'm only taking 10 women, and a few of the spots are already taken. The rest are currently filling up. Reach out to me on Instagram for more information @WoManifester.
Yeah, we only just started doing that about 2 months ago together, but it has been a blast. So we, at the beginning of each month, we do an hour-long video chat all together. And so what we talk about is our overall goal for the rest of 2019 and what we have done in the last month to work towards that and what we now will do in the coming months to work towards that. And then we also have individual monthly goals as well. And so we set our monthly intentions together, talk about, what is the thing that we're going to go do when we get off the phone today to work towards that monthly goal. And then we have at least once a week check-ins where we just text each other back and forth of like, here's how things are going, here's what I've been working on, here's what I've manifested so far, here's what's changed or shifted for me. It's not set in stone. You can totally change things around. For example, one of my employees, her car was stolen. And so she was like, well, this month I need to manifest a new car. Not only do I need to come up with like the money for the down payment, but I want to find the perfect car for me. Because if I'm going to have to get a new car, then it might as well be a really good one that's a good fit for her and for taking her son around to school and on errands and being able to go on camping trips and, all of that. And then about halfway through the month, her stolen car was recovered and she got it back and there was no damage to it whatsoever. It was in the exact same condition it was stolen in. So she no longer needed to manifest a new car because she had this old one back. And so she could put her energies and her money into one of her other big goals for the month. So, it goes back to that example of not everything, I wouldn't even say not even most things necessarily are going to be exactly what you asked for, but it will always be exactly what you need. And it's just been great because us doing our team manifesting, because it's like a team bonding and we're getting to know each other on a much more personal level. And then the other thing that we do too that I think has been really powerful is that we're manifesting for each other. And so sometimes it can be really hard when you have your own limited beliefs or your mindset blocks where you say you want something and you're manifesting it and you're envisioning it, but in the back of your mind you might be using limiting or negative words or thoughts. You might be saying that you want something, but then subconsciously you're questioning whether you deserve it or whether it's realistic or you're not even sure if it's really going to happen. And that can be very detrimental to your manifesting journey. But I think it's really powerful collectively manifesting for each other, because we might all have these limiting blocks about ourselves, but we absolutely adore each other and we can see crystal clear. Like we can totally envision, the other people getting what they want. And so it helps bring that positivity and that dedication to it. So when we get off the phone for our beginning of the month chat, as soon as we get off the phone, we each just stop what we're doing right there, take 60 seconds, close our eyes, and just envision each person manifesting what they just said they wanted to manifest for that month. And then when we do our once a week check-ins too, it always comes with all right, when you read this, take 60 seconds, close your eyes, and just picture, now you see what everybody's been up to and how close they are. Picture them finishing that last little bit. Picture them getting to what they're getting to. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that people should try that if they are able to. If they have other friends that are into manifesting, that they should try to get together and manifest with and for each other and see how much stronger and how much quicker they're able to manifest their goals by doing so.
I'm so glad that you guys do that, because can you just imagine what the world would be like if every employer, manager, boss took the time to invest in just, an hour each month investing in the employees' dreams and hopes and desires and what we could do together if our employers cared about that.
The world would be quite a bit less shitty. Yeah. That's something, I'm 26. Like I have no idea what I'm doing with business, with my life. I don't have a business degree. I don't even have a college degree at all. Like I'm figuring out entrepreneurship as I go. And now having a team, I'm figuring out how to be a boss as I go. I do feel, I always heard as a kid that I was bossy, which when you're saying that to young girls just means that they're assertive and or have leadership skills. But because we're girls, we get told we're bossy. So I was always told that, and I do feel like I have natural leadership skills, but there is a difference between being a leader and being a boss for sure. And so I've had some really shitty bosses, and so I kind of use those as my examples of what not to be. But I don't have any examples of what to be. And so I'm trying to figure that out as I go. And I do think it's so important as a manager, whether you're running your own company or you're a manager in somebody else's company, whatever the situation is, if you have people who report to you, it's kind of like that, the mother hen role in a way. You shouldn't just be telling them what to do and giving them orders and expecting them to listen to you unconditionally. Like you need to be fostering and cultivating their their happiness and their productivity. And I think having happy subordinates who feel like they have a positive, safe workspace is really important. So, yeah, I'm just trying to be the best boss possible. And sometimes, you know, it was actually a little interesting because one of my employees was with us, and we knew from the start when we hired her that she was only going to be with us for like a few, maybe 6 months max, just because of what she was doing in her life. It was just a transition period for her, and that worked perfectly. And when we were manifesting, one of her big things that she was manifesting was like her dream full-time position. And so she got it, and she left her job with us and is now working full-time in this amazing position where she's able to make so much change and on an issue that she's really, really personally passionate about. And so she's no longer even, you know, an employee. She's not even on our team anymore. But because of that, the bonding experience that we share, you know, she's still on our manifestation chats. We're still doing that. And I think that's important as well, is that just because somebody's no longer on your team the way that they originally were, or, you know, however the situation has changed, to continue supporting each other.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool that you guys are still in contact and that you're so driven to support people, you know, and support the people that have supported you, because, you know, we wouldn't be here without those people. And I've been struggling with the word, I see this a lot on Instagram with the word self-made, like when people say a self-made, you know, millionaire by 25 or whatever, but like, what does that even mean? Because like, Did you really do it all by yourself, or did the universe help you? Did other people help you? Like, did you hire some, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. I struggle with that word.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good point with self-made. Because the other thing to think with that, like when you say like self-made millionaire, like the first thing that came to mind was like Kylie Jenner and her Forbes cover of like youngest self-made billionaire in history, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, so much of, because we see self-made a lot with white men, it seems like. And it's like so much of their journey and our journey has to do with our privileges as well and our opportunity. And it's kind of bullshit for probably a majority of the people who are using self-made to be using it, because it really wasn't them and them alone. They had so many doors open to them, so many existing networks. So I think that's important to keep in mind, that very, very few of us are where we are due to ourselves alone. Certainly, you know, a huge part of it, the hard work is important, but to think about how you benefited from systems in place that you might not have even realized.
Yeah, good point. One thing that I also want to touch on with you, because I know that you're a huge activator in the zero waste movement and in environmental awareness and sustainability and all that good stuff. And one question that I have, because currently I have a position at a juice bar in town, which I absolutely love because my ideal client literally walks up to me every single day. But I give away plastic cups, like hundreds of plastic cups every single day. And I know there are other people out there who see room for improvement in their business or in the business they work for or in places that they purchase from. I mean, people say stuff to us all the time, like, oh, have you seen the potato straws? You know, like different alternatives and stuff. And we're like, yeah, we'll definitely look into it. You know, like we're always looking for better alternatives and stuff. But what would you say, just from like, you know, a perspective of somebody who sees room for improvement, how should someone go about initiating that change if they're not the business owner, if they're not the one who really calls the shots?
Yeah, well, that's such a good question. You know, unfortunately, you are going to be so limited by what the person who calls the shots wants to do. But if you can take those few extra steps to maybe help show them where you and your customers are coming from, especially customer demand. You know, businesses respond to what customers want. And so if you like keep a record or even have a little petition going around or something of having customers sign that they love, compostable straws or reusable straw options to purchase, or a discount if they bring their own reusable straw, or whatever the case may be, that might really help get the person making those decisions involved. Or talking about the cost alternatives. Businesses are also very conscious of their bottom line. So if you're able to maybe do that research online yourself, find compostable straws that are more affordable, that even save a little bit money off of the plastic straws that are being bought. Or you could talk about how if you really want to get people to start bringing their own cups, talk to your boss about how you could implement a system like that because humans respond better to punishment than to reward for some reason. I don't understand why it is the way it is, but it is. And so maybe you really want to get people to start bringing their own cups. So maybe you say, instead of offering a 10-cent discount for bringing your own cup, you say instead that they have to pay an extra 10 cents for one of your disposable cups. That is going to see a much higher percentage of people remembering to bring their own than if you reward them for remembering. So, yeah, just kind of looking at the different aspects and which this applies to talking to anybody about sustainability or environmental stuff, finding what works for that person you're talking to. So is it the fact that you can save money with reusables? Is it saving the environment? Are they really passionate about animals, or, save the turtles or something like that? Or even just about how it's the right thing to do, that maybe you can make it a moral or an ethics thing. They're not super big into the planet necessarily, but because everybody else is jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak, of reusables, and people are wanting to see that it's the right thing to start doing as well. And I guess kind of getting them to succumb to peer pressure, essentially.
Yeah. What's really funny, the other day, there was a mom and she had a little kid in her cart. And so she picked up her smoothie, and her kid tried to encourage her to get because we do offer compostable straws. They kind of disintegrate into the smoothie after a while, so you have to drink it really fast. But he was trying to encourage his mom to get the compostable straw. And she was like, no, I want to get the plastic one so it doesn't fall apart. And he was like, well, I guess my mom hates the environment. Like, screamed it in this tiny little natural food store. And I was like, oh my gosh, he just shamed his mom into getting a compostable straw. But anyways, I love...
Hey, shaming works sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it usually doesn't, but sometimes it does. And for that, there's so many different materials for compostable straws. So maybe it's just trying a different material that'll work better. Or buying a bunch of wholesale reusable like glass or metal or bamboo straws and selling them to people, having them there available. And then that's just an extra profit for you guys. People can choose to buy that. And I think one other thing that would be really good, just to start with straws, not even to start thinking about cups, which are of course way more plastic than a straw is, but you got to start small and start somewhere to implement bigger changes. Have reusable straws available, have compostable straws available, and then offer, maybe even charge 5 cents. Say compostable straws are free. It's an extra 5 cents for one of our plastic single-use straws. Or you can choose to spend $2 to buy a reusable straw and take it home with you and keep using it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Give them an option.
Give them several different options so that people have multiple things to choose from.
I like that. Thank you very much, Callee.
You're welcome.
So my last question for you is, what projects are you currently working on, and what goals are you manifesting rather?
Ooh, well, it's me, so I always have a ton of things going on. In my personal life, I'm about to do a month-long road trip through 5 of California's national parks. That's a manifestation that's coming to life that I've been manifesting for almost a year. It was a big goal of mine first I wanted to drive the entire California coast from top to bottom. That's what I wanted to spend the summer doing. And I just, yesterday, officially did that. I reached the Mexico border. And so now I want to work my way back up through the middle of California and visit the 5 national parks and that strip. And so I'm going to do that. And then another lifelong dream of mine has always been to go to France and just kind of pretend to live there for a little while. So for the month of October, I'm going to be living in Marseille. I'm really excited to see that manifestation coming to life as well. And then I'll be back in November, back in South Dakota, to move to our bigger store location. And we're going to be able to offer so many new products. We're going to be able to buy more equipment, being able to step up our production capabilities, hire more staff. That is just going to be so exciting. So many events that I want to do, and being able to support and promote other local entrepreneurs and working together for pop-ups and charity fundraisers and all of that. And then I guess the biggest project that I'm working on right now is actually starting a not-for-profit venture called the Zero Waste Business Alliance. And that is because there's so many zero waste businesses and stores that are popping up, but there are zero resources available. And so everybody's just everyone right now is a pioneer in this field. This is a brand new field, opening up zero waste stores. And so I want to have one collective place where there's resources, because a lot of the time, advice for small businesses in general don't fit the type of business that we're trying to create, because we're kind of in this weird space of most zero waste businesses are for-profit businesses. They're not like 501c3 charities or anything like that. They're trying to make a living, but they care about more than just the bottom line. It's like that triple bottom line of people, planet, and then profit. And you don't see that reflected in most business advice. It's purely based on profit and profit alone. So having this one spot for all these resources specific to what we're trying to do, as well as having a private community for everybody, whether they're just starting out or they've already been doing it for a couple of years, to be able to interact with each other, network, build relationships, because I think that none of us are in competition with each other. I think there's plenty of room for everybody in this industry, and that we're going to be so much stronger if we collaborate together as a community versus seeing each other as competition. So like the long-term goals with this project, the Zero Waste Business Alliance, is to not just have those resources and that community and events and networking, but to also in the future be able to offer startup grants to people who are wanting to bring about changes in rural communities, or, for example, people who want to bring a unpackaged bulk food store to a food desert, that sort of thing. And then also would like to in the future have a lobbying arm of the organization as well, to be able to help change laws and policies. Like some states have very specific health codes where you can't bring your own container to places. It's illegal because of concerns about contamination, but other states think it's totally fine. And so that prevents some people from even being able to open up the business of their dreams because of these unnecessary health code laws, that as long as they're following proper sanitation procedures, everything's going to be completely fine. And so we want to help change those unnecessary policies to help people be able to follow their dreams and make a difference in their communities.
That is so cool. Is that going to be specific to product-based businesses, or is that open to services?
It is, yeah. It is open to services. I would say a lot of our resources are going to be based around product-based businesses, because that is what we're seeing most on the market, is either people who are making zero-waste products or people who are selling zero-waste products. And so just that alone, being able to connect those two sets of businesses to each other. But we are seeing more and more zero-waste services popping up. So we're seeing zero-waste event planners and zero-waste consultants, whether it's for individuals or small businesses or large corporations. And I mean, I've even seen like zero-waste wedding coordinators and some of that. So we definitely want to be able to help anybody whose main focus is on the environment. We're going to be able to offer them something, but it will be primarily focused on product-based businesses.
Nice. Well, when you get that up and going, I would love to be a part of it.
Yeah, so we're throughout September working on the website. That's what I was talking about earlier when the website idea just came to me in that morning flow state. It was for the Zero Waste Business Alliance. So I have it all sketched out. Now I just need to make that happen on a computer instead of on paper. So we're going to be getting that website up, starting to create those resources. There's going to be several different like directories and lists and dozens of blog posts. So just getting all of that prepared and in one place. And then October, we're going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign to get the funding to get this off the ground. And then we'll open the doors to the first 50 people to start off with, and then do that about a month. And then the doors will open completely. But we're choosing to just start off with 50 people at first, just to make sure that we can handle it and we've got everything smooth and ready to go before we open up completely.
Nice. Well, I will be putting some energy towards imagining that manifesting for the good of all involved.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Callee, where can people go to learn more about you, your business, and things that you're up to?
So for my business, Bestowed Essentials, which is an online zero waste store, and we also, of course, have that retail store in Rapid City, South Dakota, you can go to bestowedessentials.com, and that's BESTOWED, Essentials. Or you can find us on Instagram at Bestowed Essentials. And then for me, if you want to just see the projects that I'm working on, whether it's Bestowed Essentials or my podcast or the Zero Waste Business Alliance or my van life adventures, or I guess soon to be France adventures, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at a hippie in a van. And if you're interested in listening to my podcast, the Hippie Haven Podcast, that has a new episode every Wednesday, all related to sustainable living. No matter where you're at in your journey, we've got something for everybody. That's available on all major podcasting apps, as well as hippiehavenpodcast.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, Callee.
Thank you, Katie. I'm glad we got to talk again and catch up after a year.
Thanks for stopping by the Womanifester podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you took a screenshot and shared it to your Instagram story. You can tag me at Womanifester, and I'll share it on my story as well. If you really, really like this episode, I would really appreciate it if you left a rating and review. This helps other people find the Womanifester podcast and amplifies the impact of this work.